Coming up, Confessions of a Sugar Daddy, Part 1, on this full-length edition of Depraved and Debaucherous. Thanks for joining me for the program. It's King of Podcasts here for you with another Depraved and Debaucherous episode, and the first installment of what I plan to be a pretty lengthy series, because it is time to go into this right here. And what better day than Valentine's Day to launch this series? So here it is, Confessions of a Sugar Daddy, Part 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speak with someone who has been a sugar daddy for a number of years. He is going to be speaking to me under condition of anonymity. We're going to be disguising his voice and his pitch, as much as we can, to disguise his voice so he cannot be recognized. That's the plan to go into here. His name is JL. That's all he's going to go by. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and talk to him very shortly. But first, I want to go and take a story that came up from the Better Business Bureau about how sugar dating can be lucrative. And why am I bringing this up? Because of the fact that there are many of you young ladies out there that listen to this audience. And by the way, I'm really very happy to see that my audience for this program is significantly younger and more female. I couldn't believe when I saw it, but it's really fascinating that I've gotten to my point that the audience now for this program really is young. And I love that. When I look at the numbers and the stats I can look at and see what my audience details are, is incredible. 76% of my audience is male, 23% is female. But then when you look at the audience breakup of the younger demographic, that's the part I want to see. 25 to 34 is 22% female, and 20% female of 23 to 27-year-olds. And then among 18 to 22-year-olds of your audience, young ladies, 67% of my audience is female. So there are a lot of young ladies on here that are listening in here, learning about, and I just think that the 18 to 22-year-old demographic of women, they might be slided to the point because of bad relationships. Because by this point, you know, if you've been with your high school sweetheart, you're getting to the point of marriage, or you're still together, everything's in harmony, everything's going to be a happily ever after. That's wonderful. But there are those young ladies out there that I know are out there, and they're in a state when it comes to the dating market, when it comes to going out and dating, because we know that about more than not now. Young ladies, you know, especially teens to 20s, the hookup culture is now real. And one of the things is, in this time of inflation, when money is going to be tough, we already know that a lot of people are looking to go to ulterior motives, much like how the pandemic was, to make ends meet. And so with young ladies, they don't want to necessarily go the route of something in adults to use their body. So they'll do something close to it, which would be sugar relationships. And we've talked about all those sugar relationships in general. And maybe we just have to do another course to go and talk about that with our expert guest. But we'll do that down the line. But we're going to go through some basic things here with our guest tonight. But first, we're going to do this and talk about sugar dating. It's said to be lucrative, but can be full of scams. So the Better Business Bureau talked about a young lady in Pitt Meadows. I don't know where that is, but she was nearly scammed after being offered a $500 sugar baby weekly allowance in exchange for regular phone calls. So virtual. And the story was shared with CTV News in 2021, saying a student said that he paid for his tuition and books at the University of Calgary for the money he received in sugar relationships. Are we sure it's he and not she? Average student debt for bachelor's is $28,000, $13,500, $15,300 for college grads, according to McLean's. This is a Canadian study. So, seeking arrangements as of 2021, they boasted that they have more than 22 million users worldwide and a 21% increase in Canadian members. Now 40 million users worldwide. 40 million users of eligible males and females. Keep that in mind. Then they talk about this scammer, and it was with somebody who was going to be his sugar mama, or her sugar mama. See, I knew this was a she. Why did they say it was a man? Anyway, so she received a message on Instagram from an older woman claiming to be living in Vermont looking for a sugar baby. Wanted someone to talk to because she felt lonely after a divorce. The scammer then would provide a $500 weekly allowance in exchange for regular phone calls. Now, this is the part that is common in the scams. So we should talk about the common scams of what the sugar babies on these sugar daddy websites are going through. With that said, without further ado, let me introduce our expert guest, JL. JL, right off the bat, thanks for being on. This is a post-secondary student in Canada. She offered her personal email and phone number after she was promised this third-party accountant would transfer $500 into her bank account as a deposit. So got the email and the phone number and the bank account number, or Zelle, something like that. But then she got cold feet when the scammer tried to persuade her to donate a portion of her money to an orphanage of their choosing. She cut off communication and never heard back since. So let's talk about the scams that are out there.
Sure. If you're new to the Sugar Daddy website and you go onto one of these sites seeking arrangement, Sugar Baby, Sugar Daddy, there's a bunch of them. When you're going on there, the first thing that's going to happen when you're a sugar baby on the site is you're going to get scams. You're going to have guys on there, or whoever there is, that are going to try to say, hey, go ahead and give me your Cash App, and then I'm going to send you money back to your Cash App to send back to me, or a bank deposit, or, something where you're giving them the account number so you can give they're going to go ahead and transfer money into the account. If you're going to do anything with payment at all, you want to make sure that as a sugar baby, you're taking it from 3 different payment sources, and that's it. You want it to be PayPal, where they just get your email, Cash App, where it's just your dollar username on there, and that's it. And I would say Venmo, because those ways you can get the money to your bank account, and you can get it to an account or a balance where you can transfer it, and it's just real simple like that. If you're going to meet with a sugar daddy, you want to make sure it's only cash, and that's it. Or they use the app, and they send it to you ahead of time. So if you get somebody on the line, I would recommend, if you're going to be calling, and you're going to call them, you want to do it on FaceTime, that's up to you. If you want to just do it on a phone call, that's fine too. But what you want to make sure of is that you limit the amount of information that they know. It's more than fine if you use a text mail number or some other third-party service, a Google Voice number, whatever you want, so you give yourself a couple different steps so somebody cannot really find your identity.
Now, how do you know about this?
Because every time I go ahead and start a conversation with a sugar baby, number one, I always try to get them to go ahead and text me or call me off the site just to see if they're interested or not. Maybe half the time they'll reach out to me through text or Snapchat or Instagram, whatever I provide. Otherwise, they're going to want to talk on the website. That's fine. You might as well just get used to the fact you're going to probably have to talk to her for a couple of days. If she stays responsive, if she responds to you at least every 6 to 12 hours, maybe at least once a day, keep talking to her. But if things start fading out and she loses interest, then she goes away. With a sugar baby, the attention span most likely is small because they always think there's another guy they can go to that'll give them the money. So you're going to throw your Cash App into the chat and try to get something right then and there, set up an allowance or something. There are quite a few sugar babies that want something right away. And that's about 2/3 of the girls on the sites. The other third, they're actually really genuine, honest, sweet, submissive girls. And they want companionship. They want somebody to help out with their rent or with bills or student debt and things like that. And, for the most part, those are the girls that are really the easiest to get along with. And if you're still spending money on them on a regular basis and you're doing it right by them, they're going to reciprocate. They're going to go ahead and keep talking to you.
So if you want a sugar baby to be put at ease so that when they're talking to you, they're going to say, well, they're not going to think you're a scam. They're not going to feel like they're getting put on. What do you do?
Well, most importantly, if you're going to talk to a young girl that's a sugar baby, you have to play the psychology game. You have to realize she's a young girl. There's a maturity difference between you being an older sugar daddy, and you have to just play patient. You have to be understanding. You might have to repeat yourself. You might have to explain things more. Just try to explain why you want them to go ahead and talk to you offline. So if they want to know if you actually do send money out, you can show them a screenshot of your Cash App. Just block out the names and block out the faces. But more importantly, what you want to do is show them that you know what they want. You want to show them something up front so that they'll actually get the trust in you. Once money's in hand, either they're going to scam you and just take the money and go, or they'll stick around and hopefully there's more to come, and that's why they'll stay around for you. But what you got to do is, to gain the trust, take the time to listen to them, take time to talk to them. Keep it easy. You're not trying to do visits right away. You're just talking to them, setting things up, letting them get to know you a bit more, and finding some way to connect with them so that you realize there's something on the same page that they can relate to you on. There's things you understand that they want to know more about. You want to give them more reasons to talk to you.
JL, before we wrap up, I want to go ahead and bring up a story from the Toronto Sun, a story about a sugar daddy filing a lawsuit against his sugar baby, claiming he was scammed. So I want to go ahead and ask you and get your thoughts on this. It goes both ways, so keep that in mind. Here's the story here from Michelle Mandel on the Toronto Sun. Toronto lawyer Azmat Ramal Shah claimed that a $226 million lawsuit. He was defrauded by his sugar baby and her Aurora parents, who let him spend $20,000 on the University of Ottawa student while she professed her love but told him all kinds of lies not to meet him in person, including an aunt's funeral, a broken leg, and a sudden cancer diagnosis. So in a 150-page claim, the heart-sick would-be lover alleged Kirsten Jones, now 25, and her parents committed fraud, defamation, interference with his economic interests, and intentional infliction of emotional stress. And despite his master's degree from prestigious Duke University School of Law and Ivy School of Business, the saga left him unable to get an appropriate high-paying job. So the judge didn't buy it. The judge says that his claim against Kirsten is that she lied to him about not being able to meet with him on several occasions. When she said her aunt died, she had broken her leg, and found that she had cancer for when she was receiving treatments. Kirsten acknowledges she gave the above excuses to avoid meeting with Azmat and that they were not true. She argues that these false representations caused him to continue to send money to her. And the lawyer didn't want to be interviewed, and Ramal Shah didn't want to be commented, but what happened was Smith said the pair, he was 30 years old, she was 18, met in 2016 on seeking arrangement. And the judge explained that, well, first of all, Kirsten says the transaction was straightforward. She provided friendship via phone, email, and text. In return, he'd agreed to her request for money to pay her bills, including rent, let her use his Uber Eats and Uber accounts on a regular basis. Jesus, man, this guy gave up so much. In his lawsuit, Ramal Shah claims there wasn't much sugar with his baby. She told him if he continued to send her gifts, she agreed to meet in person, but always canceled the last minute, including leaving him waiting at an airport in North Carolina for a flight she never boarded. And Kristen said her sugar daddy became possessive at the beginning of 2017, grilling her on who she was seeing, threatened to ruin her reputation, calling her a whore. To get out of meeting him, she admitted lying about breaking her leg and having cancer. By March 2018, she broke off all content, but wouldn't accept the end of the relationship. He wouldn't accept it. So, Jill, you hear this story, you know, the lawyer is not going to take, or excuse me, the judge wasn't going to take it, doesn't believe this, threw it out, right? But what do you think about what happened in this story? Right now, there's a word that the decision for the Law Society's tribunal on allegations of professional misconduct and how he dealt with the lawsuit. He's going to be dealt with issues with the bar. And instead, the case got thrown out, and Ramal Shah had to pay the Jones family $15,000 of their legal costs. So this is a big cluster. JL, what do you think about this?
Kristen found herself a sucker for her sugar daddy. This guy here, this lawyer, he's not really thinking much with his head. He's thinking with his other head for the fact he stayed around for so many years. Nothing at all for the sugar daddies. If you're still waiting to get something insignificant for the money you're spending, then you need to get out of there. The problem was he was infatuated with a girl by how she looked, probably the way she talked to him, made her feel like there was a fantasy that was there that was going to live up to some fruition someday. It wasn't going to happen. So what he did was he did a virtual relationship. He got caught into it. And then after that, he gets in here and he's getting nothing from it. He's being a nice guy. But then the problem is he starts doing what the nice guys do, right? He starts calling her a whore, complains about all the things that she says she's gone through, which were lies. But he bought them. I'm sorry. If he hears these things that say that she was in the hospital with bone cancer, if she broke her leg, all these other things, and she's not even providing any proof that this is going on, like, show me the broken leg in a picture, show me a picture of the hospital room, something. because of this guy spending quite a bit of money, and what he was giving up was everything. He paid her bills, the rent. I thought she was living with her parents because I don't know what's going on with the fact that the parents also got sued. And the dumbest thing this guy does, you give her the Uber Eats account. You give her that. It's basically giving her an open credit card. That's just dumb. And he got upset. If it were me, I wouldn't even, if I had the kind of money and I'm doing this, I wouldn't bother trying to go ahead and find some girl on a sugar dating site. If you're not flying them in and bring her here, then just go find somebody else, or go fly somewhere else, because if you're not good at this, you might as well just do your interactions in person. You go to Thailand or go to Colombia or Dominican Republic and you go to some places where you can pay for play, because there's that too. But some guys want to just be able to bring a girl home, bring them to where they are, have their time, fly them in, fly them out. That's what I do.
So I don't feel sympathy for this guy at all. This guy made a lot of mistakes. I agree with you. And that's it, man. It's like, I don't know what this guy was thinking. That was a lot he gave up. So I appreciate you, Gio, for coming on, telling us all about this. And let's do another Confessions of a Sugar Daddy very soon. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
That's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening in, subscribing, as you always do. And if any of you ladies want to become sugar babies, you want to go find your sugar daddy, go right ahead. Play fair, play honest. And maybe you're going to get a little bit of something for being a little depraved and debaucherous.